everybody, welcome to another amazing episode of Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. We have a wonderful show for you tonight, and we have some amazing guests. So tonight, our focus is going to be on nonprofits. So listen, when I say I have a house full, I have a house full of dynamic, well-rounded, versatile, and go-getter women. So you don't want to go anywhere, I promise you. So you know what we do every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go ahead and grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and enjoy the ride because you are finally at home at Keever's Place. So don't go anywhere, family. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. We hope that by the end of our show, you're left feeling empowered, motivated, and connected. So come on in the room, grab your favorite drink, sit back, and enjoy the ride because you're finally at home at Keever's Place. Now give it up for our host and producer, Coach Keever Murdaugh.
And welcome back, family, to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. So we are in the house with 5 dynamic women, as I mentioned to you earlier, and we're going to be talking about everything nonprofit tonight. So if you are thinking about launching a nonprofit, if you have launched a nonprofit and you just don't know what you're doing, if you have questions about nonprofits, this is where you want to be tonight, right here at Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. So I'm going to bring my guests on tonight. First of all, we have our amazing visionary that we're going to be talking about a project that she has coming up very, very soon. But I'm going to bring her in the house first, Miss Tiffany Bell. So welcome to Keever's Place, Miss Bell. How are you?
I am well. Very, very excited to be able to join you tonight. Thank you so much for opening your doors to us.
You are so welcome. It is indeed my pleasure. So the next queen I'm going to bring up is Miss Precious Swain. We're going to bring her up. Come on in the room. Welcome, Miss Precious Swain Peaks.
Well, thank you so much for the warm welcome, and thank you for having us.
You're so welcome. The next queen that I'm going to bring up is Dr. Sandra Rickett Stinson. Come on in the room, queen. How are you?
Hey, Makiba. How are you doing? Thank you for having us. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Welcome to Keever's Place. The next queen coming on the stage is Miss Terry Brinson. Welcome to Keever's Place. And finally, we will bring in Miss Dr. Tekemia Dorsey. Welcome, Dr. Dorsey. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well, and thank you for having us on.
Amazing. Well, let's just dive right into it, ladies. Like I said, we're going to be talking about nonprofits, and you all are the nonprofit queens. So welcome again to Keever's Place. I want to go individually, starting with Miss Tiffany. Tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your nonprofit organization.
Well, my name is Tiffany Bell. As you've already said, I live in Gulfport, Mississippi. I am one of the co-directors for Success Women's Conference. And those of you who are familiar with Success is 8 years. This is our 8th year that we'll be doing the conference. And so that conference caters to entrepreneur women, it caters to corporate women, and it also caters to nonprofits. And so this year, I've had the pleasure, the honor of being able to launch an event specifically for nonprofit leaders. And so I'm really excited. I opened up a consulting business for nonprofits about a year and a half ago. It's called Nonprofit CEO. And so basically with the consulting business, I just help nonprofits grow. I have a genuine passion in helping them to get their messaging, to help them with their board recruitment, to help with volunteer retention, fundraising, all of the things that need to happen in order to make a difference in people's lives. And so, again, I've worked in and out of the nonprofit industry for 25 years in some area of service, honestly, all of my adult life. And so I'm, again, very passionate about being able to make a difference in people's lives, specifically through nonprofit organizations.
Thank you. Wonderful. Miss Precious Peaks, tell us a little bit about yourself and your nonprofit organization.
Hello, I'm Precious Swain Peaks. I am the founder of New Visions Ministries of Florida. as for my nonprofit, in business, I am an accountant. And so what I work with other nonprofits to try to assist them in understanding the importance of the paperwork. Aside from that and being an author, that's me.
Awesome. Thank you. Dr. Sandra, tell us a little bit more about who you are and your nonprofit organization.
Okay, so hi, everyone. I am Dr. Sandra Rickett Stinson, and I am the founding CEO of Matthew House of Chicago. We founded this organization 31 years ago, and we have been there for 31 years. We serve a population of individuals who are homeless, men, women, and children. Like Tiffany, I have been in it, I think, most of my life, a couple of corporate jobs, which didn't fan out. I'm an author, I am a minister, and I am an entrepreneur, visionary entrepreneur. And I'm so happy to be here today.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Miss Terry, tell us a little bit more about you and your nonprofit organization.
Sure. My name is Terry Brinston. I'm the CEO of the Nurturing Wellness Group Foundation. I'm an educator, and so I introduce students to the medical field as well. And so what I found is students have a hard time transitioning or really believing that they can be doctors and nurses and so on. So I've found Nurturing Wellness Group Foundation, and what I do is I work with young people who have barriers that prevent them from being successful. And so I've been working with them for over 8 years. I've been an educator and a registered nurse for over 25 years. So I love working with young people.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And Dr. Dorsey, tell us a little bit more about you and about your organization.
Yes, good evening, and thank you for allowing us to be on. So my name is Dr. Tekemia Dorsey, and I hail from the place where you can catch crabs and purchase the best crabs in the world. That's none other than the Baltimore, Maryland. I am the CEO and founder of the International Association of Black Triathletes, where we focus on underserved and underrepresented youth in communities. We have built bridge pathways from the inception of the sport all the way up to college and career, and we are an award-winning nonprofit with an award-winning curriculum for youth, student leaders, as well as CEOs, entrepreneurs, consultants, and things such as that. We love working with individuals, directly with youth, but also with families to ensure that those disparities in the urban market are closed through processes, procedures, and products that's going to help them break the cycle of poverty and be an absolute asset in a community and in the world as they should.
I love it. I love it. All of you have such powerful foundations. Let me ask this question, and anybody can take this question. What differentiates a nonprofit organization from a not-for-profit organization? Because I know there are vast differences. So would anyone like to explain to our audience the difference between an NPO and a not-for-profit organization?
Well, the only real difference that I usually teach is one has products and the other one markets services. So mostly profit organization markets a product, something that's tangible. Well, oftentimes we don't see services as tangible. And I frame it from the insurance industry, because I used to sell insurance, that it was hard to sell life insurance to someone because it wasn't tangible that they can see. Whereas when you're dealing with a profit, it usually deals with a product. There's something that they're offering, something that they're giving, something that you can purchase. In a nonprofit, you are really working with services. You are servicing the community. You're servicing the individual. You're servicing the need, or you're servicing the niche. That's how I would define the difference in the nonprofit. And that was a good question, because I get that very often. To me, it doesn't, I'm glad the accountants on the line. There are certain qualifications and things that you have to do both in the profit world and the nonprofit if you're going to sustain it. And I think that is a challenge for individuals, because they think nonprofits is free money, and it's not. You have to have that paperwork in order.
However, I would also add on to what Dr. Chandra was saying, is that for profits, you're going to have, exactly as she mentioned, those products and services. However, a nonprofit can have a for-profit side, because that's going to be important when you're thinking about the funding stream for nonprofits. It has to be extremely diverse. And as
Yes.
what Dr. Song just mentioned, but this is where nonprofit leaders actually fall short from
Yep.
excelling beyond that 3-year limit,
Mm-hmm.
which is the lifespan of a nonprofit. It's
Mm-hmm.
because they think automatically charity, right? And
Yes.
we are in it from a charity standpoint, but we got to get out of that charity mindset,
Yes.
right? So you
Yes.
can be a nonprofit leader and have for-profit products and
Yes.
services because
Yes.
that's part of your funding stream that's going to
Yes.
help you not just sustain your business, but grow
Yes.
and scale your business and build those community relationships so that you can be that $1 million CEO and offer those
Yes.
$1 million services so that you are serving your greater good in your targeted audience.
Yeah, I
Yes.
definitely like to add to that. I can agree with what she's saying. With the last nonprofit that I worked for, I was executive director for a pregnancy resource center for 8 years, and I was with that organization for a total of 13 years or so. And when I became ED, there was $7,000 in the bank, and it took $7,000 a month in order for that
Mm-hmm.
organization to drive. It wasn't until I came on board and recognized, like, hey, there are other opportunities that we can take advantage of. We can open up some other streams of income so that again we have some positive cash flow coming in that's not strictly donor based. And so yes, long term for longevity wise, like this having, I guess, the same with the for-profit
Yes.
industry,
Yes.
being able to kind of tap into some of the
Yes.
other options that are out there. I just think you gotta think outside the box. Gotta
Yes.
think outside the box.
And I agree. I agree 100%. We have several social enterprises, as we call them here in Chicago, going because we have to be able to fund. And as Dr. Um, Dorsey said, we can't survive without it. But I'm going to let the tax account because one of the things that my advisor talked to us about is that we also have to be extremely careful as to how that money funnels to the nonprofit. So I'm not going to answer that question.
So I did want to add on, Keever, what you mentioned. The distinct difference between a for-profit and a nonprofit is a for-profit can't claim charitable assets. You can't go out and ask for donations. You can do sponsorships, but it's more from a for-profit standpoint. The nonprofit, on the other hand, is a charitable 501(c)(3).
Mhm.
However, you can have for-profit services that's going to
Yes.
help build and fund your funding stream, and that's the distinct difference.
Yeah.
Nonprofit can write it off, for profit cannot. Nonprofit can have products and services for sale, for profits can, but the distinct difference is a for profit is not a
Mhm.
charity where
Yeah.
a nonprofit is. And then
Yeah.
also we got to look deeper and to find out what is the classification with that 501(c)(3), right?
Exactly.
If it's a
Mhm.
foundation versus a charitable versus something else. So
Mhm.
nonprofit leaders, interns, boards, um, anyone that's working with a nonprofit or leading it, understand what your paperwork status is. Because when you go to file, and even before you get to the filing status, the IRS is going to let you know right off the back what you can and cannot do. So really, it shouldn't be the accountants telling the nonprofit CEOs what they can't do. It should be the CEO leaders and the boards guiding the accountants to let them know what their status is, because that is the meat and potato of how a nonprofit can operate.
And
I'm
yeah,
going
I
I'm,
agree.
I'm
I
going to go
agree.
ahead and chime
I,
in if you guys don't mind. And what I'm going to
yes.
say is, though you're extremely correct, that's how it should go. 90% of the nonprofits that I deal with, that is not how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is the person is going to put together the nonprofit. They don't have a clue. They hire somebody who puts it all together for them. They don't read the paperwork. The IRS hasn't told them anything. So they're clueless. They just hop out and they're out on the corner with their sign and their can to collect their money that they can't collect yet because they've set up the incorporation. They may have got the exemption, but that state may require them to have another certification through the state that they can collect charitable contributions. The one thing that I've learned in this is, as the accountant, technically, yes, I work for them and they should tell me what they want. But I'm not, if they don't know, I'm not going to let them blindly crash and burn. I'm going to turn around and now I'm going to educate them, even if they're to the point that they can't afford to have monthly service, how to do it themselves. So that when someone comes in to edit or to audit or to see what's going on, they have their paper trail because they can't apply for grants or loans or anything else without it. The one thing I encourage all nonprofits to do is to have a profit service. Most of the ones that I deal with during the season, they have people within their service that does taxes. So we set them up, we teach them either the people that they work with or the people in their congregation or members of the board. Well, now during tax season, do taxes to bring in income, pay the employees because they're able to do that, but put what would be considered profit back into the running of the programs or the nonprofit. Because realistically, a low season is 50,000 a season. So they're able to almost set up their whole budget if they get into a program like that. We set them up with taxes. Some do lip glosses. Some do fish tables. Just depending on if it's a ministry or a sports or whatever it is. We teach them how to, if you have like the homeless program, we would teach them outside of how to keep their books, how to take and use the people that they're servicing, make them employable, teach them the skill, and let them be the employee because this is still part of the program. So even though we shouldn't tell them, I will be very honest and tell you 90% of the time, especially with nonprofits of any type of color, no offense to anyone, but I'm going to be real, any type of color,
be real.
We're going to have to tell them. They're not going to tell us nothing. They're going to come and just lay some stuff out. It might be in a shoebox. And we're going to have to tie it all up and clean it all up.
Right.
So I do agree, but in real life, it's not going like that. And I would want to see it, but it's just not. They're just not educated. They come up with an idea, and they're going to be a nonprofit. You know, it's all they have to do is pass the IRS, and they're in.
I'm sorry. And one of the things that, Ms. Peaks talked about, which she is absolutely correct, is that, but it really comes back down into the leadership, right? Like you said, we wake up with a great idea, or we have a idea in the pit of our stomach, and we're like, we want to make a difference in our community, right? But like you said, running a nonprofit or a for-profit is more than just paying $175 or $250 for registration. It really takes that strategic plan, your unique niche, that marketing plan, that business plan, just like you would for a for-profit, Keever, you do it for a nonprofit. And that really is before you even get into the execution stage. So anyone that's thinking about starting a nonprofit or joining a nonprofit really should come to the Nonprofit CEO Summit and learn all of these essential elements so that we can be more successful, even though it's the non-us. And we do want nonprofits to really succeed beyond that 3-year myth, right? 3 years and you're out. We want you to get to that 5 and 10-year stage where you're not just profitable as the visionary, but you're profitable. Because here's the biggest part, and I'm going to stop there, is that as nonprofits, who we really serving is the public, because we are a public charity. So we started it for a reason. Let's get to the point of getting out of our own way to really serve the community. So people should really sign up to come to the Nonprofit CEO Summit in 3 weeks.
Absolutely. I would just like to add something that, of course, the purpose of a nonprofit organization is to improve the quality of life for others. And I think people going to, I know so many people who have nonprofits, and they're tracing their dream and the difference they want to make, but they forget that it is a very important business side to it. And, one of my session is, don't just, be about it. Don't just, act like you're doing this nonprofit and not being mission driven and not know how to do your books and not to create a mission and a vision and be mission driven and making sure that your staff are trained properly. So a lot of nonprofits miss that very, very important piece of having that business knowledge and making sure that they're running their nonprofit properly.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you say that, because I've met many, 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 many nonprofit founders who started the nonprofit, and then they've gotten that 501c status, and then they've set it down. They've not known how to launch from there. So it's interesting, you have those that dive in, and they're just all at it. They're all about making it profitable. Then we have others, like, they just do well to cross the starting line, get the documentation in place, and then from there they really don't know how to engage with the community so that they can get people involved with the service, so they can actually begin to service people, and then of course also find funding sources. So being able to teach people how to launch properly, and then Dr. Dorsey said, get past that 3-year mark, get past that 5-year mark, to where there really are profitable nonprofits that are serving and impacting lives.
Right, and I agree with everything that I heard and Dr. Dorsey and everyone. And one of the things that we have done, that first 5 years is tough. I don't care. It's tough. It's very tough. And you really need to, just really calm in. But even as you get to the 10th or the 15th year, as a nonprofit leader, executive CEO, you also have to have a great, in my opinion, leadership team. And then you have to allow them to lead, because as a nonprofit founder, it's our vision, it's our baby. And what I had to find doing my coaching and the coaches that I hire is that if I hire an individual, I have to let them do what I've hired them to do, so that I can go and do what I've been hired to do, or I'm there to do. So one of the things for me in the nonprofit arena is that you have to learn to lead and not manage. It took me a while to learn that, just being transparent. It took me a while to learn that. But when I learned how to lead and not manage and really put the people in place, I had a dynamic team in place, but I was still trying to do everything day to day. And then my coach said, you've got to let it go. You have a good team. So I would say to any nonprofit, once you reach that threshold where you have a good leadership team in place, that you begin to let them do the job that you hired them for.
And if I could jump on and add to what Tiffany was saying, one of the things that Tiff talked about, and my topic, which is one of the things that I'm speaking about during a conference, one of the pain points for nonprofit leaders, boards, volunteers, and interns is really how to build those communities, right? How do you bridge together your product, your service, your value proposition, your targeted niche? How do you add that to your marketing plan? How do you really build that support team that Dr. Sandra talked about? And so I've created the 5-step formula to build communities and to scale businesses. And so when you have a framework, right, a framework from which that you can operate from, it's leading exactly like you said, Dr. Sandra. And it's also identifying the pain point that Tiffany is talking about, because in any market, whether it's the urban market, the rural market, or the suburban market, if you're not building communities, if you're not just launching those grassroots initiatives or being able to scale your business when it's not just you, then you're going to falter all day long. But as Tiffany mentioned, sometimes we don't know how to craft those conversations. Sometimes we don't know how to take our products and services and pivot it to our unique market niche. For example, if you have products and services and you are targeting the rural area, then those products and services aren't going to speak to the urban market, right? But when you have a framework, that framework is going to allow you to take whatever you want, whatever your value proposition is, and work with any nonprofit, for-profits, entrepreneurs. So being able to identify those barriers is going to open up all kinds of relationships that's going to help build and sustain and to grow.
So what I'm hearing basically, ladies, is that it takes more than just pure passion to drive your nonprofit, because let's just be honest, there are so many folks out there who basically have a vision and they have this passion behind it. But what I'm hearing is passion is all good, but you need to make sure that you have all your documentation in pretty much lined up and in order. You need to understand what you're doing, and you need to also have a great vision of your target audience and how to
Absolutely.
communicate with the public, which actually brings me to my next question, ladies. Myths. We need to dispel some of these myths that are centered around nonprofit organization. So if you had to give me a myth that you want to dispel today, what would that myth be?
I'll start again. One of the myths that we deal with at Maffey House of Chicago is that everyone that's homeless is either on drugs, have mental challenges, have a disability, and they are African American in Chicago. We have about 80% of our population that is an African American and mostly male. But when we see those individuals, when the staff see them, they are educated, they have masters, they have went to school. Some things just happen. Now, are there some challenges that they have not addressed? Yes. But that stigma that everybody that in my population that I serve, and I serve all families, and I serve is homeless or is on drugs or something. We have to literally break that because we don't see that. Now, when I started years ago, maybe that was. But right now, it's about a 50-50 with us. Not everyone that comes through our door has had a drug issue or out on the street because of that. Some of it because the rents in the area is too high. They live with their grandmother and there wasn't a lack of planning. There's divorce, there's domestic violence, because I'm a licensed domestic violence counselor. There's a number of things that have happened that has prevented them from getting back on their feet.
Okay, awesome.
And I would add another myth is that most nonprofit leaders believe that they may not have $1 million nonprofit. And in hindsight, we do, right? Ashtora Kathy in 1946 launched Chick-fil-A, right? And although Chick-fil-A is a for-profit, she had a mission in her vision. For most people, she only ran a 6-day-a-week restaurant. She's closed on the 7th day, right?
Yes,
The beauty of her model was that she knew that she wanted to work in the urban market. On the 7th day is Sabbath day, right? That's family day. She approached people as if, hey, we want to do this. People thought she was crazy. To this day, Chick-fil-A is bringing in more revenue than McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, right? But all she did was not just have a passion. She knew her target audience. She knew the value of her products and services. She developed that marketing plan. She built her support team, and her first team member was herself. So all of the things that we're talking about is equated to the nonprofit sector. It's no different, right? So when you know what it is that you're doing and why you want to do it, and you're able to have a solid plan, like my 5-step formula to reach the urban market, to build communities and to scale your business, then that marketing plan, that framework is going to allow you to be in any market, for profit or nonprofit. So the myth is, do you want that $1 million nonprofit? The answer is yes. Can you have that $1 million nonprofit? The answer is yes. This is why everybody needs to come to the Nonprofit CEO Summit and listen to all the wonderful speakers, because I know my 5-step formula, along with everyone else, can help us get you there and overcome that myth.
I love it.
I would like to add a myth. There's a myth that if you build it, they will come. You have something that you want to do, and you just expect everybody to just jump on your bandwagon. And, the first place we go is to our communities, right? And we're like, okay, I want to do this. And of course, everybody's going to jump on my bandwagon. And so with that said, it just doesn't work that way. And, don't get your feelings hurt, because what's your passion is not anybody else's passion. And I really struggle with that. But I recognize my session on the Nonprofit Summit is don't just talk about it, be about it. In order to build ambassadors, you have to be very strategic with building ambassadors to actually come on the train and help you ride your vision. And so I talk about becoming mission driven because you need to be very, very specific in what you're trying to do and make your organization vision very clear so that you are very clear in positioning yourself and talking about what you want to do so like-minded people will come on board. If you are wishy-washy and delivering your mission, then you're going to get the wrong people. And you don't want the wrong people. You want the right people with like-minded. And so everybody, like I said, everybody is not going to be on the same page as you, and be very clear with that. Make sure you know what you want to do. Make sure you're clear about your mission and your vision, and you be very strategic in finding the right people to be a part of your mission.
I love that. And it is very important. You are exactly right. It's very important for you to understand your mission, your message, and your mandate. Because if you don't have a clear understanding, how can we expect for anybody else to, right?
Absolutely.
One myth that I wanted to mention that I will love you ladies' feedback on is donations are the only way to help. What do you think about that?
I think
I'm sorry,
that,
go ahead.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
I think that is an insane mindset. First, especially when you look at the economy, some people can't afford to seed into, even if they want to seed into your vision. Anything that you decide that you want to do or need to do or is your calling to do, you have to have some other mindset of how you're going to fund it. You can't possibly believe that because you want to do it, we'll say, I'm going to finance it. That's not real life at all. And it's a mindset though. I won't say it's a taught thing because when you're taught, you know better. But it's almost like a given. If you have a 501c3, people are going to just pour random money into you. And that is definitely not the case. You do still have to have a way to generate income.
And
Now,
that, go ahead, Dr.
now I
Dorsey.
so and I know and Miss Peaks is absolutely correct to from experience to a degree, right? And I say that because if you have the proper mission, the proper niche, the proper value proposition, and you know exactly what you want and what you're going after, you can have a plethora and overage of donations. It shouldn't be the main thing coming in because guess what? Donations is revenue, right? And whether it's liquidated, whether it's sponsorship, whether it's donations or not, it it adds to the value of your nonprofit. But it goes back to the discussion that we talked about earlier. It's not just about the passion of the CEO. It's not just the passion and the makeup of the board. But if you are positioning yourself appropriately, donations, it can be a primary revenue stream. Shouldn't be the only one, like Miss Precious said, but it can have a positive impact. But where we find that it's not being attributed properly is because, as some of us are already saying, we wake up, or nonprofit leaders wake up and want to do a nonprofit, and they may not have the business side of it, right? Or you are approaching a school system or Chick-fil-A or Under Armour, and you're saying, "Hey, you need to donate." But here's the disconnect, right, Keever? Which is why it's important for you to be able to do the research for that organization you want to go after, not just what is the value for you, but what is the value to the company that you are approaching, right? So if you go to a for imprint who gives away $500 in donation every year in a calendar year, and you can help them see the value of their product donation to your cause, not you, but to your cause, you'll get it all day. Where we fall short as nonprofit leaders and board members is that we think, as Terry said, that it's all about what we want. we have to remove ourselves as nonprofit leaders because we're just a visionary, right? We're the leader, like Dr. Sean just said. But when we can place the focus on the community, you can have up to a 6-figure donation that would look really good, and that will bring communities, people that want to come in and do business with you because they're seeing the donation and the works that you're doing in the community. So no, donations should not be the only stream, but it can be a powerful stream if you got your ducks in a row internally, and externally you're fly like a bird.
I love it.
So, like Dr. Dorsey said, when my subject is going to be starting and sustaining a nonprofit, because I think that, as we talked about this, there are a lot of starters, but they're not in positions to sustain it. And so I want to just cover the basics, because when I coach individuals, they don't, as I believe Tiffany said, they don't have the basics, and donations do not sustain you. But when we started our nonprofit, I had to do the research. I think Dr. Dorsey said that. I knew exactly what was missing. I knew exactly what community we needed to go to. I knew if we needed zoning. I knew everything. But I did niche research is what I'm very good at. And I did to say, this is what's missing in the homeless population. We need some programs where they can go in the daytime. And so you're absolutely right. But donors, sometimes something happened to them, that donation falls out. And so you do need to reach beyond the donors. And in saying that, you need to have a great grant writer and a great development staff. Okay, because as the CEO, you in my thoughts cannot do it all. And when I learned that, we started growing and growing and growing to a $4 million organization, because I had made a decision. I cannot do it all. I cannot write grants, train staff, run the kitchen, and do all of that. And so you have to be very careful, which is why in my presentation, I want to cover the basics, because I've had some ups and some downs and some seesaws and almost going out. And I want individuals that really want to start a nonprofit to know the basics.
I love it, which actually bring us to a quick break. But when we come back, I'm going to pose another question based right on what Dr. Sandra just said. But we're going to take a very quick break right now. And as soon as we come back, we're going to finish and wrapping up our show. I hope you guys are enjoying this with these phenomenal women. I told y'all, they know what they're talking about when it comes to nonprofits. So if you have any questions, go ahead and pose your questions right now. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back and finish wrapping up with these women. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
If you are in the nonprofit industry, you'll want to be a part of this. Running a nonprofit can be exhausting. You have more needs than you have revenue. You're understaffed. Your board is barely functioning. You need donors, and that still doesn't cover half the challenges that you face every day in your nonprofit. That's why you need to be a part of the Nonprofit CEO Summit. It's the event made just for you. It offers business marketing, branding, automation, experts from all over the world with the gift of turning your nonprofit into a revenue-generating machine that allows you to meet your needs. The summit is free to attend, so register today at www.nonprofitceosummit.com/register. This is a 3-day event beginning September the 14th through the 17th. Not only will you receive top-notch training, but you will have networking opportunities to connect with other like-minded individuals. Again, connect and register today at www.nonprofitceosummit.com/register. Again, www.nonprofitceosummit.com/register, or check us out on Facebook. See you there.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your man, Eric Zuli. I'm the international commercial Axe body spray star. I've done films. I'm on Amazon Prime right now. And I built my own social network platform. We have 300 million people that we reach on our network, and I'm a man of God. And I'm telling you right now, man, Where do you need to be? Oh yeah, that's it. Keever's Place. You gotta go to Keever's Place. You gotta watch Keever's Place. You gotta hang out in Keever's Place. It's about Keever. You hang out in Keever's Place, the easy way.
And welcome back to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. So we are, if you were just joining us, we're here with the nonprofit queens. We are talking about everything nonprofits. We just dispel a few myths about nonprofits. So if you have any questions about what you need to do to be successful in your nonprofit, then you need to be here in the house today. We have the experts with multiple years, decades of experience amongst all of them. So thank you, ladies, again for being here. And I wanted to pose a question to piggyback off of what Dr. Sandra said prior to the break. If anybody, what nuggets would you give those who are wanting to start a nonprofit? I don't want you to give it all away because we know we want them to definitely tune in to this 3-day summit coming up. But if you had to drop a nugget, what nugget would you give the person who is in that conceptual stage of birthing a nonprofit?
Hire a coach. Hire a coach. Get a mentee. Get a mentor. I had several.
Yes, I agree with that. I was just about to say that you cannot do this by yourself. You need to surround yourself with like-minded people, but people who have expertise in areas that you do not. So definitely get a mentor.
And I'm sorry, go ahead, Tiff.
I would say that I want people to make sure that they keep the main thing. Regardless if you're a for-profit entity or a non-profit entity, whenever you start out, the most important thing to me is that you focus on what your mission is, and that you focus there, not so much on fame, not so much about building a name for yourself, but it's really about impacting people. And so as long as you keep your eye on the people, you keep your eye on the goal, don't allow you to get deterred by any distraction. Keep the music and anything. But again, nonprofit is all about making change in people's lives. So with that, you're gonna chase impact, do not chase fame.
So I heard you say chase impact. You were breaking up a little bit.
So I would add, and this is not actually tying into my nugget, but here's the thing, but I would like to add what Tiffany was saying, whether it's a nonprofit or for-profit, social enterprise, a solopreneur, you have to have the right mindset, right? And when you're able to start with the mindset, you're right. Externally, we can end up hiring everyone, but guess what? It's a waste of money if your mindset is not in the right place. And when you develop that mindset of not just what you want, then it evokes behavior change, right? Because no matter whether you got a good girlfriend or a cheerleader, you know, it's kind of like at the beginning of each year, everybody want to go run to the gym and get in shape. And then after the third day, people like, what happened, right? But if the mindset was right in the beginning, you would be your only cheerleader. And when you have that mindset, your behavior starts changing, right? You no longer need someone to give you a to-do list because you're creating your own to-do list. And so that behavior evokes action, right? And so that action is going to get you up and moving from step 1 to step 31. But here's the beauty. When you have the right mindset, when you change your behavior and you get actionable, your bank account may not be what you want on day 30, but you will grow personally and professionally. And that's that internal transformation versus transaction that's going to get your nonprofit off the ground, that's going to build those community relationships, that's going to scale your business no matter where you are in your development. And when you get to that mindset, action, and behavior, like we're saying, then go and hire a coach, because guess what? Your money won't be worthless. It will be worth more, because you are the person that is actually driving the car. Everybody else is just chilling along with you. Mindset, behavior, action. Those are the 3 nuggets I would share.
I had to give you the standing ovation, Dr. Dorsey. Yes, it starts with the mindset, right? Because if you don't have the right mindset, how can you expect other people to follow you? So it starts right here. Wonderful, wonderful. I love that. Anybody else?
I totally agree with Dr. Dorsey. She is amazing. She got it going on down there. So the one thing that I would say, since I was thinking the same thing, is take a class.
Yes.
I know this sounds crazy and you may think you know everything,
Mm-hmm.
but each thing is different. So before you hire the coach, after you've gotten the mindset piece, get in a class. And I don't mean some of these classes you see on social media for $500 from a person who does not have a nonprofit, never started a nonprofit. They're reading one of our books and telling you what to do. I mean, go to your local community college, go online to a reputable space, take some real classes. And the reason I say do this after the mindset and before the coach is because you need to know, whether you're doing it yourself or not, what everybody is supposed to be doing.
That's right.
You can't manage something you don't know.
That's right.
And so when we go in thinking we could do it all by ourselves. Let's scratch that off.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to know what the people we're hiring to do is supposed to do, because we're supposed to check it so that there's checks and balances. So if I was going to give any tip, it would be, don't be too proud or too haughty to take a class. Take a class and know what you're getting into.
Love it.
I have to back her up on that. I am right now, and that's what I said, working in the nonprofit industry in and out for 25 years. I am currently taking a class through Cornell University. Even though in the nonprofit industry, I have worked as a volunteer. I have been at the nonprofit and I serve currently on local boards, national boards, and international boards. Lots of experience, but learning is something that we should always be about doing. As we move from each stage of growth in life or in business, just like you said, just that continual growth in mind and putting yourself in a place where you can expand. It is always important all throughout.
I love it. Which actually brings us to,
if you are in the nonprofit industry, you'll want to be a part.
These 6 women, these 5 women right here, is 6 of them. The other one could not make it today, but you want to be a part of the CEO Nonprofit Summit. It's going to be held September the 14th through the 17th, and you can register right now if you have questions about nonprofit organization. If you're not sure on how to generate revenue, if you're not sure on how to start, if you're not sure on the paperwork that they were talking about in the beginning of the show, if you have questions about anything, if you just want to network and build your collaborative efforts, definitely register for the for the Nonprofit CEO Summit today. You can go online to www.nonprofitceosummit.com/register and register today. It's a 3-day summit. It starts September the 14th. It will end September the 17th. All of these dynamic women that you've been sitting here listening to for almost the past hour are going to be speakers. Not only are they speakers, they are going to be headliner speakers. So you definitely want to tune in. If you have enjoyed this show, if you have enjoyed them, I know you will enjoy them more during the summit. So definitely go ahead and register today. The website again is www.nonprofitceosummit.com/register. Don't delay. Go ahead and register right now. And it's a free event. Hello. So you have no expenses.
Hello.
Absolutely free. You don't have to come out your pocket. You don't have to whip out your card. They are dropping all of this information for free. So we have no excuses. After tonight, Nobody should have any excuses about running a bum nonprofit organization. You should have no excuse because the information and the resources are here. So definitely go ahead and register tonight. Ladies, it has been an honor and a pleasure having you. I hope you all have enjoyed Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and podcast. If you had to leave one final thought, what would it be for our audience tonight?
We have
covered everything. All right. Sounds good.
So the one thing, Keever, the one thing that I would leave to our audience that are watching this, that will watch the rerun, they might pick it up later on, because guess what? Even you should register right now. Go to www.nonprofitceosummit.com/register today, right? Bring your board, bring your volunteers, bring your interns, bring people that that might be thinking about a nonprofit, a for-profit, any kind of profit. Because here's the thing, whether you are thinking about it, you're in the middle, or you're trying to scale, education is important. And the first investment starts with you, right? Sometimes we don't have the money right off the bat, but Keever just said it. This is free. All you need is time. You pay in one or two ways. Time or money. 3, time or money, or time, money, and everything else. We got more than 60 years of experience that we're coming to share with you, right? 49, 40, 50 speakers. Let's help cut your pain in half. Let's eliminate all of the barriers that we know that you're going to face, not just a novice or intermediate nonprofit, but that's why we're here. This is our legacy to you, right? So we want you to sign up today. So overcome that fear, false evidence that appear real, right? Because if you're thinking it, if it's in a pit of your belly, you got to have action. Take the action and sign up today. We just don't go right now. www.nonprofitceosummit.com/register. We look forward to seeing you on the other side. Get out of your way. Bring your family. Sign up. Get ready. No excuses. Because here's the thing. COVID-19 proved to us that you can have 50 million degrees, but you can still end up on an unemployment line. We want to take you into the last quarter of 2021, and we want to plant 2022 like you've never seen before. You can't do it alone. Because if you did, you'll be a headliner like us, but we want you to be a headliner in your own nonprofit going into the next 5 years. So let us help you cut through the red tape, overcome those barriers, and get you to where you need to be. Go right now, www.nonprofitceosummit.com, and register and bring your entire team. Look, 2022 better look out for all of us, because we all have a $5 million nonprofit like Dr. Sandra. I just want to let y'all know. And now, Keever.
All right.
I just want to say I'm going to ditto what Dr. Dorsey said. Listen, I am so passionate about helping visionary entrepreneurs bring their vision to reality, moving from your journal, from your napkin to reality that creates a lasting legacy. This is free. And if you don't invest in yourself, who will? I heard one of the coaches that I connect with say, if you're not scared, then you can't grow. So even if you are afraid, you should get on this. It's free. Get all the knowledge you can, and then hook up with one of these ladies and all this knowledge and ask them to help you. I'm sure we will.
I love it. You all have wrapped it up.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. You all have wrapped it up beautifully. And if you're gonna jump scared, right? Growth is in your uncomfort zone. So you have to get outside of your comfort zone in order to grow. And like I stated earlier, we have no excuses, because the resources, the knowledge is the experience is here wrapped up in this 3-day summit. So we really have no excuses, and it's absolutely free. So it can't get any better than that. I
was hoping, let me just add something. Thank you so much, ladies, for just sharing. I look forward to going to the summit and attending the classes. I want to let you guys know that tomorrow is not promised. I came down with COVID. I was in in the hospital
Wow.
for over a month. I was on the ventilator for over 15 days. And I have been standing behind the scenes, running my nonprofit, you know, doing the best that I can, trying to lift people up to help. And I recognize that, you know what, my life could have been cut short, and I have something to say and I have something to do. And so I encourage you, stop talking about it and start being about it, because tomorrow is not promised to you. So I encourage you to walk out those dreams, those desires that the Lord has laid in your heart, because, hey, it was an assignment for you, and only you can carry it through.
That's right.
So.
I love it. I love it. On that note, ladies, thank you once again for joining us. This has been a very informative conversation, and I would definitely welcome you all back. You're welcome back anytime to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and podcast. And family, thank you all for watching. As always, join us next Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will be doing it all over again. So just remember to always connect, grow, and glow. And we will see you all next Thursday night if the Lord's willing. So be good. Peace and blessings. Love you all. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for watching Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and podcast. Tune in every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Keever's Place. To be a guest on our show, text the word guest to 803-368-3030 or visit us at tinyurl.com/Keever's Place Book. And watch us on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire as we're broadcasting in more than 60 million homes worldwide.